Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be doing this video today. If you have not seen in the title yet, today I am doing a Q&A video about living abroad / life in the United States. So for those of you that are new viewers to my channel and don't know, I am a South African. I was born and raised in Johannesburg, South Africa, and then when I was 17 years old we moved to Cape Town, South Africa, and last year I got married to an American. Our original plan was to stay in South Africa for at least the next 3 years, but it didn't end up working out that way, so we ended up moving back to where Preston, my husband, is from, in Louisiana in the United States. So I have officially been living in the United States permanently for 1 year. We just got to our anniversary of being in the United States, and it has definitely been a very interesting year. There are many things that I have learned, that I had to change, that I had to deal with, and a lot of you have asked me some questions about living in the United States, some differences between South Africa and America, so I thought I would do a Q&A video where I'm answering all of your questions. Now, you guys did send me a lot of questions, which I'm really surprised by. So this is clearly something that you guys want to know about. So I may not answer all of your questions. I may do a part 2 later on, or I just may not go into much depth about it, and there are some questions that I'm going to do a full video about because I feel like there's a lot to share about it. So let's get straight into today's video. The first question is, did you experience a culture shock when moving to the United States, and what are some of the cultural differences? So this is one of those questions that I'm absolutely going to make a whole video about because I feel like there are just so many things. So I'm just gonna list a few of them for you guys today. In the beginning, when I moved here, a lot of times I thought that I was like being weird because someone would do something and I would just think it's like the rudest thing ever, or like, why is this person doing this? But other people around me would just think that it's okay and it's normal. But we have a lot of friends from South Africa that visit the United States often, so when they come here we always talk about different things that we experience and different cultural differences, and then I realized that I wasn't being weird or just felt strange about something. It really is that in my culture we do something one way, and then in the American culture they do some things a different way. So the first thing that I noticed once I got here is that in a casual environment such as like family gatherings, Americans usually don't greet every single person in the room. Now this in the beginning was so rude to me because as a South African, we are always taught that it doesn't matter what environment you go into, what room you step into, you greet every single person. You go up to them, you either like give them a hug or whatever. You make sure that you greet every single person, no matter if you know them, you don't know them, you greet every person. But when I got here, I would like visit someone's house and then the people wouldn't greet me, and I would think like, do they not like me, or like what is the reason that they don't greet me? Like they just carry on like I didn't even step into the room. And this still happens to me, and I still have to like remind myself that, Monique, it is not normal for them to greet every single person. They kind of just carry on with their life, and if they talk to you, they talk to you. If they don't, they don't. So that is something that was really weird to me. That said, I do have to say that living in the South, in Louisiana, I have absolutely experienced Southern hospitality. It was so interesting for me to go into a store and people will like smile at you and greet you, and even the workers in the store, they would always ask you like, can I help you with something? And people were just really friendly, which to be honest is not something that I've really experienced in where I live in Cape Town. I feel like people kind of just go about their day, like they don't really care about greeting one another when you just walk past one another in the store, or even the workers aren't always the friendliest people. You do get friendly people obviously, but most people just aren't that friendly. And also, like, I would talk to someone, and a lot of times when people find out that I'm from South Africa, especially in the church that we go to, they would like make food for me that they want me to try. So when my parents visited, a lady in the church made my parents, I think it was gumbo, and I just thought that that was so sweet, and I just don't think that people in South Africa would do that. But yeah, I definitely think that it may differ when you go to different states, but in the South they are definitely known for Southern hospitality. Another thing that I noticed immediately was that the houses here don't have fences around them, and that freaked me out so much. Like, it really took a long time for me to get used to that, because in South Africa, if you've ever been there, you'll know that around all of our houses we have usually high walls with fencing on top of it, and we have alarm systems, and in my house we had like security gates and everything. Like, my house probably looked like a jail compared to houses here. But houses here, just, they don't have walls around them, they don't have fences. If they do have a fence, it's just to like show where my property ends and the other person starts, you know, so just like a boundary fence, but it's not for security. And also they often leave their doors of their houses unlocked, and it's fine, like nobody breaks into your house. And yeah, that was really, really crazy to me. So I think I would say in general the safety here was a big culture shock to me. So that's all of the cultural differences that I'm gonna note right now, because there really is a lot of them, and it took a lot for me to get used to some of them, but I want to make a full video about that. The next question is, did you forget Afrikaans, and is it hard to speak English all the time? So a lot of people assume that because I don't have a very strong South African accent anymore, I have kind of like a mixture of an American accent and a South African accent, not on purpose, I promise, it just kind of happened. A lot of people assume that I don't speak Afrikaans anymore. So for those of you that don't know, Afrikaans is actually my home language, and yes, ek praat nog steeds Afrikaans. Ek dink nie ek sal ooit op 'n Afrikaans praat nie. Ek is so trots op my taal, veral nou dat ek in 'n ander land bly. En ja, ek moet sê, alhoewel Afrikaans my huistaal is, moet ek bietjie meer dink oor wat ek gaan sê. Dit kom nie net baie maklik nie, want ek praat dit nie elke dag nie, maar ek praat dit dikwels met my ouers en ook partykeer met Preston. Ek probeer hom leer, maar ek dink nie dit is enigiets wat ek ooit sal verloor nie. Ek glo ek sal altyd Afrikaans praat, en ek gaan beslis my kinders leer Afrikaans praat. So ja, ek glo nie dis enigiets wat ek sal verloor nie. Ek het met dit groot geword, dit sal saam met my bly. So there you have it. I can still speak Afrikaans, even though I don't speak it a lot. I don't think that it's something that will ever leave me. With regards to is it hard to speak English all the time? I think in the beginning it was quite difficult, because I'm used to speaking Afrikaans all the time, like with my parents, with my family, with my friends. But I do have to say that I have always been like good at speaking English. In school I took English as a home language, even though it wasn't my home language, so it wasn't that difficult for me to speak English all the time. And also I got so used to speaking English to Preston while we were still living in South Africa, so when we moved here it was kind of just normal. Like, it wasn't really something that I really had to get used to. The next question is, what's been the hardest adjustment excluding leaving family behind? Okay, so I answered this question on my Instagram the other day, and I said that the hardest adjustment since moving from South Africa has been not being close to my family, because I am the only child. I am very, very close with my parents, so it has been the hardest thing not having them close by. Like, they're not just, I cannot just pick up the phone and call them because of the time difference. I cannot just drive to their house. Yeah, it's really, really difficult, and I miss them a lot. And also because I can't leave the country, I don't know when I'm gonna see them again. But this person specifically said excluding leaving family behind. So I would say the biggest adjustment would be obviously the cultural differences that I mentioned earlier. And also getting used to the American way of doing things. So even in the stores, it would be difficult for me to work with the money. It still is. I try to use a card as much as often, because the American money just really confuses me, because in South Africa our money is like different colors, so you can open your wallet and you can just see what the colors are. But here, everything's the same color, so I have no idea. And if you give me coins, cannot do it. So that is definitely a difference from America and South Africa that's still really hard to adjust to. Also, driving in America is really difficult, and I am used to it now, but in the beginning I was so scared to drive, because for those of you that don't know, in America you guys drive on the right side of the road, and in South Africa we drive on the left hand side of the road. So I was always so scared that I would go down the wrong side of the road, or I wouldn't know how to read a traffic sign or something. And you guys have this weird thing called turn right on red, which I still just stop. I'm really scared to just turn, because in South Africa that's illegal, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so there are some differences like that. Another thing that I would say that was difficult to adjust to is also living life alone, which that doesn't necessarily have something to do with moving to a different country, but more for the fact that I was kind of in that transitional phase in my life where I've been used to living with my parents and kind of depending on them a lot, and then all of a sudden I was married and had to be independent as well and make my own decisions. And with being across the world, I cannot just call my parents and ask them, hey, what should I do? And with being married, like, that's not really something that you should do. It's either between you and your husband to make the decision, or just a decision that you have to make yourself. And then another thing that kind of ties into friends and family is the fact that I still, after 1 year of living in the United States, I don't have a lot of friends, and that is very difficult. Chris and I do have some friends, but it is really difficult to relate to someone from a different culture in such a personal way, because I can explain to a South African friend that I have something that I'm experiencing and just something that I'm dealing with, and they would totally get it. But then if I would explain that same thing to an American friend, they would kind of not understand, maybe because of the cultural differences, or they would just think, okay, that's not really a problem, why are you upset about it? You know, just different things like that. And also, I don't leave the house often because I do college from home, and even with photography, like, I just go out, do the photo shoots, and then I come back and edit at home. For the most part, I'm at home, so I don't really go anywhere where I can make friends. Even in church, there hasn't really been people like my age or that are interested in the same things that I am, so that really is difficult. And I'm so thankful for Preston. He is my best friend, obviously. But sometimes a girl just needs a girlfriend, you know? It's just a different kind of friendship. So that is also one of the really hard things. The next question is, did moving from South Africa to the United States test your faith? I would definitely say that it did test my faith, and it still does, because like I said earlier, I can no longer depend on my parents to make decisions for me, or when I'm going through a difficult thing, I can no longer depend on them or on my family or my friends, but I have to really just make the decision myself, and I need to depend on God. And I actually spoke about this in a sermon that I did last week, and I shared that I truly believe that God had to take me out of the place where I was most comfortable, out of a place that I knew and was familiar with my entire life, so that He could unlock a destiny within me, because He cannot take me to the next level of my faith and the next level in my relationship with Him if I'm depending more on my parents and on my friends and different things in this world than I'm depending on Him. So here I am totally alone in that sense. Yes, I have Preston and his family, and I'm so thankful for it, but I am a lot more independent. So when things get hard, the only thing that I can do is pray and ask for God to help me through it. The next question is, have there been times where you regretted your decision, and is living in the States better than in South Africa? So no, there has definitely not been times where I regretted my decision. Yes, there is definitely hard times and times where I miss home so much, like right now, so homesick, and I cannot even visit my country. Hello? Okay, I'm so sorry about that. My husband called me and I just had to answer. But getting back to the question, I would definitely not be able to say, is it better to live in the States than in South Africa? I don't think that either one of them is like better. I would absolutely be able to live in both. And I think that both have things that are special to them and that I love. So no, I wouldn't say that it's better to live in the United States than in South Africa and vice versa. The next question is, when can you go back home to South Africa? So for those of you that don't know, I have applied for a green card and I'm still waiting on getting my green card. And while you are in the process of waiting for an interview and then finally getting your green card, you cannot leave the country. I applied last year October and I still have not yet received my green card, but we just received some great news that my interview has been scheduled, and it really is a miracle from God, because there are so many people that we know of that have been struggling to get their green card for a year, 2 years. So I'm so thankful that we already have a scheduled interview, and now we just pray that everything goes well. And honestly, it should be within the next month or 2 months. So as soon as I get my green card, I am gonna get on a plane and head on back to South Africa, because I miss my country so much. I miss my people. I obviously miss my family. So I think that I should be able to visit soon. I am definitely, if I have my green card obviously, going to South Africa in December for my best friend's wedding. I'm so excited about it. I am honored to be a bridesmaid. So yeah, we have our wedding, so we'll definitely be there then if I have my green card, which I'm sure I will. But we also may visit a bit earlier if I do get my green card earlier. Don't know the exact date, but it's really as soon as I get my green card. The next question is, how do you deal with homesickness? So lately I have been so homesick because I haven't been in my country for a whole year. I did see my parents in January this year, so I haven't seen them in 6 months. They came to visit us in January and it was the best time ever. I am so thankful that they had the opportunity to come visit. But how I deal with homesickness is honestly the biggest thing through prayer, because I cannot do this on my own. I can only do this with the grace and help of God. So when I start to feel homesick and maybe a bit depressed, I lock myself in our prayer closet and I go pray. I read encouraging Bible verses and I just ask God to give me the strength, and it really is the only thing that helps me to get through it. Other things that help are obviously, like, I can Skype my parents, but that usually just makes me miss them more. And I try to stay busy, because I notice that when I'm alone and I'm not busy doing something, I have time to think, and when I have time to think, I have time to remind myself of how long ago I've been in my country and how much I miss my family. So staying busy and surrounding yourself by good people definitely helps. And then the very last question is, do the different time zones ever cause problems when you try to contact your parents or not? So there is a 7 to 8 hour time difference between South Africa and America, depending on if America has daylight saving times or not. And yes, it definitely makes it difficult to stay in contact with my parents, because when I wake up in the morning, they're almost going to sleep, and then when they wake up in the morning, I am asleep. So there really is a very limited amount of time that I can speak to them, which is usually early in the morning my time and late in the evening their time. And that really does make it difficult, because obviously all of us are busy. My parents obviously have to work, and I am always busy with just different things that we do here and going places, and I don't always have like Wi-Fi nearby so I can FaceTime or Skype my parents, and it definitely makes it difficult. There have been times where I felt like I don't even have parents because I don't get to speak to them as often as I can. We do send message on a family group, but it's not the same as like speaking to someone at least like over Skype or in person. So yeah, the time difference is definitely a very big challenge, but we do try to Skype as much as we possibly can. So that is it for today's video, guys. I'm so thankful for each of you that have asked questions, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to answer your question. A lot of them I am going to make a full video about, so please remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on that. and please give this video a like if you like this kind of video. I love sharing about my experience in living abroad. Yes, there have been difficult days, but for the most part I'm really enjoying it, and I'm thankful that I get to share my experience with you guys. So please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment. I would love to get to know you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!